The Highway of Hollow Men. It was a dark and stormy night. The rain beat down on the windshield of the car, and the wind howled outside. Inside, the driver, a young man named John, was lost in thought. He had been driving for hours, and he was starting to get tired. He was on his way to visit his parents, who lived in a small town in the middle of nowhere. John had never been to this part of the country before, and he was starting to feel uneasy. The road was deserted, and there were no signs of life anywhere. He was beginning to think that he had made a mistake by taking this route. Suddenly, John saw a light in the distance. He was relieved to see that it was a gas station. He pulled in and got out of the car. He was about to go inside when he heard a noise. He turned around and saw a man standing in the shadows. The man was tall and thin, with long dark hair and a beard. He was wearing a black coat and a hat that covered his face. John felt a chill run down his spine. He knew that this man was not to be trusted. He started to back away, but the man followed him. "What do you want?" John asked. The man didn't say anything. He just kept walking towards John. John turned and ran. He ran back to his car and got in. He started the engine and drove away. As he drove, John looked in the rearview mirror. He saw the man standing in the middle of the road, watching him. John drove for hours, but he couldn't shake the feeling that the man was still following him. He was exhausted, but he knew that he couldn't stop. He had to keep driving. Finally, John saw a sign that said, "Welcome to Willow Creek." He knew that he was almost there. John drove into town and went to his parents' house. He was so relieved to see them. He told them about the man he had seen on the road, but they didn't believe him. They told him that he was just imagining things. John knew that he wasn't imagining things. He knew that the man was real, and he knew that he would never forget the night he drove on the Highway of Hollow Men. The next day, John woke up the next morning feeling refreshed. He had slept soundly for the first time in weeks. He got out of bed and went to the window. He looked out at the town below. It was a beautiful day, and the sun was shining brightly. John went downstairs and made himself breakfast. He was about to sit down at the table when he heard a knock at the door. He opened the door and saw a man standing there. The man was tall and thin, with long dark hair and a beard. He was wearing a black coat and a hat that covered his face. John's heart sank. He knew who this man was. "What do you want?" John asked. The man didn't say anything. He just stared at John with cold, dead eyes. John tried to close the door, but the man stopped him. He put his foot in the doorway and pushed his way into the house. John backed away, but the man followed him. "What do you want?" John asked again. The man finally spoke. "I want you," he said. John didn't know what to say. He was frozen with fear. The man took a step towards John. "I'm going to take you with me," he said. John turned and ran. He ran out of the house and down the street. He didn't know where he was going, but he knew that he had to get away from the man. John ran until he couldn't run anymore. He collapsed on the ground, gasping for breath. He looked up and saw the man standing in front of him. The man was smiling. "You can't escape me," the man said. "I'm always with you." The man reached out and touched John's forehead. John felt a sharp pain, and then everything went black. John woke up with a gasp, the remnants of the nightmare clinging to him like cobwebs. His heart hammered against his ribs, a frantic drum solo echoing the one playing in his head. He couldn't shake the image of the hollow man, his touch lingering on his skin like a brand. Sunlight peeked through the curtains, painting reassuring stripes across the room. Was it all a dream? He checked his forehead, finding no mark, no sign of the chilling encounter. Hesitantly, he ventured downstairs. His parents were already up, sipping coffee and reading the newspaper. Relief washed over him, chasing away the last tendrils of fear. But something was off. His parents didn't look up when he entered, their expressions vacant, eyes glazed over like mannequins. A cold dread snaked up his spine. "Mom? Dad?" His voice trembled. They remained eerily silent, their gaze fixed on the newspaper. John reached out, his hand hovering over his father's shoulder. Then he saw it. A faint shimmer, like static electricity buzzing around his father's head. It pulsed weakly, mirroring the rhythm of John's racing heart. Panic bloomed in his chest. This wasn't a dream. It was somehow real. The Hollow Men weren't just phantoms from his nightmares. They were here, infiltrating his life, taking over his loved ones. He had to escape, but where could he go? This town, Willow Creek, felt different. The friendly faces he'd seen yesterday now appeared hollow, their eyes vacant, devoid of life. Suddenly, a memory surfaced. An old legend his grandmother used to tell. A whispered tale about a hidden sanctuary deep within the nearby Whispering Woods, protected by ancient magic. Could it be real? Desperate, John grabbed a backpack and shoved in whatever he could find. Food, water, a flashlight. He had to reach the sanctuary, his only hope of escaping the Hollow Men's insidious hold. As he slipped out the back door, a chilling voice resonated in his mind. "You can't escape, John. We are everywhere." Pushing onward, John ventured into the Whispering Woods, the dense foliage shrouding him in an unsettling silence. The wind whispered secrets through the leaves, adding to his growing unease. He followed a barely discernible path, guided by a sliver of hope and a gnawing fear. The air grew colder, the shadows deeper. He swore he could see figures flickering in the undergrowth, their forms shifting and contorting like phantoms. Just when he thought he couldn't go on, he stumbled upon a clearing bathed in an ethereal glow. In its center stood a weathered stone archway, pulsating with a soft light. It was the sanctuary. Hope surged through him. He rushed towards the archway, but a figure materialized before him, the Hollow Man from his nightmares. "You found it, John," the figure rasped, its voice devoid of warmth. "But you cannot enter." John stood his ground, adrenaline coursing through him. "I won't let you take everything from me." The Hollow Man lunged, his touch promising oblivion. John braced himself, but then a blinding light erupted from the archway, pushing the figure back. He didn't hesitate. He ran through the archway, leaving the Hollow Man howling in frustration behind. The light enveloped him, washing away the fear, the dread, the very presence of the Hollow Men. John emerged on the other side, sunlight warming his face. He was in a different place, far from Willow Creek, the air clean and free. He had escaped, but the ordeal had left an indelible mark. He knew the fight wasn't over. The Hollow Men were out there, and he wouldn't rest until he understood their purpose, their source, and found a way to stop them. He had become a beacon of hope, a lone survivor with a newfound resolve, driven by the memory of the empty stairs he had left behind. The road ahead was unknown, but John wouldn't walk it alone. He would find others who had escaped the Hollow Men's reach, build a resistance, and reclaim their world from the shadows. The highway of Hollow Men had led him to darkness, but now it would become the path to his fight for the light. This is just the beginning of John's journey. Where will it take him next? Who will he meet along the way? What secrets lie hidden within the Whispering Woods and the sanctuary? Days turned into weeks, weeks into months. John found himself in a bustling coastal town, a stark contrast to the eerie silence of Willow Creek. Here, life thrummed with normalcy, oblivious to the darkness John carried within. But he couldn't escape the whisper of fear, the constant vigilance gnawing at him. One starlit night, drawn by an inexplicable pull, John found himself wandering towards the docks. A weathered trawler, the Seahawk, sat docked, its name painted in peeling white. An old man, weathered like the boat itself, sat mending nets. This was Captain Elias. Whispered rumors claimed he knew every secret the sea held. John felt an urgency he couldn't explain. He poured out his story, the chilling encounter, the escape, the burning need to fight back. Captain Elias listened, his gaze fixed on the distant horizon. Finally, he spoke, his voice a low rumble like the ocean tide. "The Hollow Men," he said. "They follow whispers, echoes of fear and despair. They feed on it, grow stronger from it." Hope flickered in John's chest. "So there's a way to stop them?" The captain chuckled, a dry, humorless sound. "Lad, there's always a way, but it ain't always easy, nor pleasant." He pointed to a worn map on the table. "There's an island whispered about in old sailors' tales, the Isle of Forgotten Whispers. They say it holds the source of the Hollow Men's power, a darkness older than time itself." John knew the dangers were immense, but hesitation was a luxury he couldn't afford. He agreed to join Captain Elias, their unlikely alliance fueled by a shared purpose. The journey was perilous. They braved storms that seemed to rage with unnatural fury, encountered monstrous creatures drawn to the darkness John carried. He learned to harness his fear, transforming it into a shield against the Hollow Men's influence. Finally, they reached the Isle of Forgotten Whispers. It was a desolate place, shrouded in perpetual twilight. Whispers swirled in the air, insidious and tempting, trying to drag John back into the darkness. He clung to the captain's gruff support, their determination their only weapon. Deep within the island's heart, they found a cavern, pulsating with an unnatural light. It was the source, a swirling vortex of pure darkness. Hollow men materialized from the shadows, their forms shifting and menacing. A desperate battle ensued, John channeling his fear, his anger, into raw power. The captain, ever the strategist, led them to a hidden chamber within the cavern. It housed an ancient artifact, a beacon of pure light said to counter the darkness. With trembling hands, John activated it. The cavern shuddered. The darkness writhed, the hollow men shrieking in agony. The source pulsed erratically, threatening to consume them all. But the light held, pushing back the darkness, weakening the source. John knew this was his moment. He poured every ounce of his will into the beacon, channeling his memories of love and hope, pushing back the shadows with his own light. With a final, ear-splitting crack, the source imploded, plunging the cavern into darkness. Silence descended, thick and heavy. Then, a flicker of light, followed by another, until the cavern was bathed in an ethereal glow. The hollow men were gone, reduced to wisps of smoke, their darkness vanquished. John and the captain stumbled out, blinking in the sunlight. They had done it. They had brought back the light. But the victory was bittersweet. The scars of the battle, both physical and emotional, ran deep. They knew their fight wasn't over. The darkness, though weakened, still lingered, and others, like the Hollow Men, might rise again. John, no longer just a survivor but a warrior forged in the crucible of fear, knew what he had to do. He would carry the light, share his story, inspire others to fight the darkness within themselves and the world around them. He would become a beacon, a testament to the enduring power of hope and courage. The whispers, once instruments of fear, now carried a different message. They whispered of resilience, of a fight for the light, of a journey that had just begun. The highway of Hollow Men may have led him to darkness, but it had also shown him the strength he never knew he possessed. And now, he would walk a new path, a path illuminated by his own light, leading others away from the shadows and towards a brighter future. This is just the first chapter in John's fight against the darkness. Where will his journey take him next? What challenges will he face? Will he find others who share his fight? John and Captain Elias returned to the coastal town, hailed as heroes for their unlikely feat. News of their victory spread like wildfire, carrying a glimmer of hope against the ever-present threat of the Hollow Men. However, John knew the celebrations were temporary. The source might be destroyed, but whispers of darkness still lingered, emanating from hidden corners of the world. Driven by an unwavering resolve, John decided to form a resistance. The Whispering Light, gathering those who had faced the Hollow Men or felt their insidious influence. Among them was Anya, a young woman with an uncanny ability to sense the whispers, leading them to hidden pockets of darkness. And there was Kadir, a former soldier hardened by conflict, whose unwavering strength became a pillar of the group. Their first mission led them to a seemingly idyllic village shrouded in whispers of despair. The villagers, seemingly content, possessed vacant eyes, their life force drained by a hidden Hollow Man masquerading as the village elder. The Whispering Light infiltrated the village, Anya guiding them through the Whispers' maze, Kadir's skills neutralizing the elder's defenses. John confronted the Hollow Man, not with violence, but with empathy, showcasing the life stolen and the darkness they perpetuated. His words, fueled by genuine connection, struck a chord within the Hollow Man, causing it to dissolve, leaving behind a weary soul yearning for release. News of their success spread, attracting more survivors and igniting a flicker of hope across the land. Soon, the Whispering Light became a beacon, offering training, sanctuary, and a sense of community to those touched by the darkness. John, once a lone survivor, found himself leading a movement, the weight of responsibility settling upon his shoulders. However, Their growing influence drew the attention of a powerful entity known as the Whisperer, the mastermind behind the Hollow Men. The Whisperer, existing in the shadows, manipulating whispers and feeding on despair, saw the Whispering Light as a threat to its dominion. Its influence intensified. Whispers grew sharper, targeting the group's vulnerabilities. Anya's ability faltered, overwhelmed by the sheer volume of negativity. Kadir's past traumas resurfaced, threatening to consume him. John himself grappled with doubts, questioning his ability to lead. The Whisperer orchestrated a series of attacks, testing their resolve. Trust within the group wavered. Anya retreated, fearing her power endangered them. Kadir, consumed by rage, almost succumbed to the darkness. John faced his own demons, battling self-doubt and the overwhelming sense of responsibility. In the midst of darkness, John found solace in the stories of those they had helped, the flicker of hope in their eyes reminding him of his purpose. He reached out to Anya, offering support and understanding. He found a way to channel Kadir's anger into focused strength. His unwavering belief in his teammates rekindled the group's spirit. United once more, the Whispering Light confronted the Whisperer's ultimate test, a gateway to its realm, fueled by collective despair. They fought not just with weapons but with stories of resilience, compassion, and the strength found in unity. They shared their experiences, their pain and triumphs, weakening the gateway with the power of their connection. John, empowered by the collective light within him, stepped through the gateway. There, he faced the Whisperer, not as a warrior, but as a survivor who understood the depths of despair. He shared his own story, the darkness he had overcome, the light he had found. His words resonated within the Whisperer, its power diminished by its own emptiness. With a final surge of collective light from the Whispering Light, the gateway collapsed, severing the Whisperer's connection to the world. The Whisperer wasn't vanquished, but its influence was significantly weakened. The world still held pockets of darkness, but the Whispering Light stood as a symbol of hope, a testament to the power of unity and resilience. John knew the fight was far from over, but he embraced his role as leader, fueled by the stories of those he fought for, ready to lead his team into the uncertain future, his own light guiding them onward. This is not the end of John's journey. The Whisperer may be weakened, but it still exists. What new challenges will John and the Whispering Light face? Will they find a way to permanently defeat the source of darkness? Years passed, and the Whispering Light became a force for good across the land. Their victories against pockets of darkness inspired countless others to rise against the lingering shadows. Anya honed her ability to navigate the whispers, becoming a beacon of guidance. Kadir's strength became legendary, his past serving as a reminder of the darkness overcome. John, weathered but resolute, continued to lead, his light dimmed but never extinguished. One day, whispers unlike any before echoed through the land, originating from a place previously untouched, the Whispering Wood, once John's sanctuary. An unsettling silence followed, devoid of even the faintest tremor of life. The Whispering Light knew this was their most crucial battle yet. Venturing into the eerily silent woods, they encountered monstrous manifestations of the whispers, twisted by an unknown power. Each battle drained them, forcing them to confront their deepest fears and doubts. Anya struggled to decipher the corrupted whispers. Kadir's stoicism faltered, and even John felt the darkness tugging at his edges. Deep within the heart of the woods, they found the source, a colossal tree, its roots tapping into the very core of the world, pulsating with a malevolent hum. The Whisperer, having absorbed the darkness from countless defeated Hollow Men, had evolved, feeding on the collective fear of the land. A desperate battle ensued. Anya's guidance proved invaluable, leading them through the wood's labyrinth of whispers. Kadir unleashed his fury, tearing down the monstrous manifestations, but it was John who faced the Whisperer directly. Their battle wasn't of swords and spells, but of stories. John shared the countless stories of resilience he had gathered over the years, tales of hope overcoming despair, love conquering fear. With each story, the Whisperer's form flickered, its power waning. Finally, John shared his own story, the boy who faced his fears on the highway of Hollow Men, the man who rose to lead the fight against darkness. As the final story echoed through the woods, the Whisperer dissolved, its essence dissipating into wisps of light. The silence lifted, replaced by the gentle rustling of leaves, a sigh of relief from the awakened land. The victory came at a cost. Anya, exhausted from channeling the corrupted whispers, slipped into a peaceful slumber, never to awaken. Kadir, his purpose fulfilled, chose a quiet life on the fringes of the world. John, forever marked by the darkness he faced, continued to lead the whispering light, though now with a gentler wisdom. Years turned to decades, and the whispers became mere echoes of a bygone era. The whispering light disbanded, their work seemingly done. John, old and weary, sat beneath a tree, the once silent woods now teeming with life. He closed his eyes, remembering the whispers, the battles, the sacrifices. A faint smile touched his lips. The darkness hadn't been vanquished, but it had been pushed back, and the world shone brighter because of it. His journey, the journey of the whispering light, was a testament to the enduring power of even the smallest flame in the face of the greatest darkness. And as John drew his final breath, a single whisper filled the air, not of fear or despair, but of hope, carried on the gentle breeze, a promise that the light would continue to shine, even in the darkest corners of the world. The story ended, but the echo of hope lingered, a reminder that even the smallest light can illuminate the path ahead.